Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, as per your respective time zone. On behalf of entire Evosys Managed Services team, we'd like to welcome you all today to 21D Workforce Management and Payroll Advisory webinar session. So once again, thank you everybody for sparing the important time for this session. This important session is to keep you fully synchronized with the new features and functionalities as a part of this quarterly release which Oracle provides. My name is Hardik Patel, and I'm an Operations Manager here at Evosys Managed Services Department. Today, I'm your host for this session, and I'm glad to introduce my colleague Yagni Ralji, who is part of our vast HCM team. Today, she'll take us through all the workforce management and payroll updates for 21D quarter release. Today's session is planned for around 60 minutes, and we'll also make sure that we also leave some time to answer all your questions you may have. Let's look at the agenda of today's session. We would like to convey you our approach towards the Oracle updates in a very simpler method. We'll be taking you through volatile analysis for the 21D updates done by our experts, which will help you incorporating new features and updates easily into your system. We'll also sync you on any bugs or known issues if there are any. Then we'll move to the closing part in Q&A. It's good to have an interactive session, so please do ask all your questions through chat or question panel, and we'll answer them by the end of this session. In case if we run out of time, we'll also make sure to respond you back by connecting you at a later stage to answer all your questions. This is to give you a glimpse on how we have created the structure of this session. A list of new features coming into 21D, detailing on features so you get brief understanding on what new features are all about. Next one are the business benefits and important takeaways for you as a decision maker. There are 4 components wherein we have done in-depth analysis of features which we are going to present to you today. The first one is an impact level analysis, which demonstrates the impact on end user. If it's a low impact, then regression testing can be avoided or not. If it's a high impact, you need to opt for regression testing. Second one, which is we all are aware that there are some features which are by default also enabled by Oracle, and there's some which we need to opt for. The third one is the nature of each feature. There would be certain configuration which may be required, or some can be used without any changes. And the last one, which is a quick win. This term we use simply to convey that what is ready to use by investing minimum amount of time and what requires significant amount of time and effort to make use of this feature. So Yagni will make sure that you understand in the most easiest method. Before we go that, it will help us crafting the future webinars with a bit specific content. We would quickly like to know with the screen, with a quick poll on the screen, that which industry does your organization belongs to. So if you can please help us, it would be great. And then immediately I'll hand it over to Yagni and she'll take you through the entire session. We'll be closing the poll in like 10 seconds and then we'll immediately start for this session on workforce management and global payroll. Thank you very much, everyone, for doing the vote. And I'll be handing over to my colleague, Yagni Ralji. Yagni, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Hardik, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm Yagni, and I'll be taking you all through the updates in workforce management and payroll for the quarterly upgrade of 21D. Before we deep dive into each individual feature, let's go through a quick analysis on the different updates that Oracle has brought up in 21D. Consolidating both workforce management and payroll, we have around 21 features, out of which 16 are default and 5 would count as opt-in features. First, we'll begin with quick wins that require no additional configuration. The first feature we have is multiple assignment support for qualification plans. This feature will enable consumption of entitlements separately for the different assignments of the employee. So let's say the first assignment is eligible for 10 days of paid leave and the second for only 5 days. We will be able to fulfill this requirement in the system post the upgrade. But in case you don't want the system to behave in this manner, we can just disable the lookup code that we have ANC qual person level plan use, and the system will go back to its previous behavior. The interesting thing here will be to see how this update works with qualification plans whose unit of measurement is days. So that's definitely something to look out for. The next update we have is HCM Experience Design Studio for time and labor. This feature would let you decide and maintain what data you want to show and what you don't in terms of employee self-service and manager self-service in OTL. You can ensure you're only showing fields relevant to employees and line managers. The next feature here we have is record counts. This feature is for the payroll admins and it'll make your life a little simpler. Post the upgrade, the payroll admin will be able to easily identify and view the records against the different statuses we have. Earlier, we had to manually filter those out to see the count against each. So if I just quickly zoom into the screen that we have and show you how it looked post the upgrade, there is a banner here that you will see against the count against all of these statuses, that is total, success, failed, pending, and ignored. The next feature we have is simplify payroll costing information entry for an employee. So Oracle is bringing the responsive UI page for person costing in the upgrade of 21D. I'll just quickly take you through the screens that we have here. You will be able to see the costing at element level and employment level. You will be able to select effective dates to view the costing details at different periods of time. You will be able to filter out the costing based on assignment, and you will also be able to see the historic records if you click on show prior records. The next feature we have is access payroll costing information for a subledger journal entry. So post the 21D upgrade, we would be able to view the details of the journal entries for specific transactions and resolve any discrepancies if required from the payroll side. So the navigation that you need to follow is you need to navigate to the review journal entries task, which is under the payroll work area. Find the specific transaction that you want to review. Click on view transaction. This will navigate you to a more detailed page, which will have person details, process details, as well as transaction details. So you can review the amounts here and make any change from payroll if required. The next feature we have is values defined by criteria, extended salary rate support. So this is more of a setup feature wherein you can set up your values defined by criteria to work based on certain assignment attributes. So let's say you are promoting an employee or you're hiring a new employee. You first populated all of the assignment details of the employee, and when you add the salary details, the salary calculation will be based on the assignment attributes that you provided. Next, we have is the responsive page for payroll relationship. As we know, Oracle is slowly moving all the payroll screens to responsive UI as well. In 21D, we're going to be seeing the new look for the payroll relationship screen. So you will see the assignment details of the employees under this section. You will see the payroll assignment details, that is the first standard earnings date under the payroll assignment details section, and the actual payroll details will be under the payroll association section. Next, we have is HCM Experience Design Studio for run results. This is a very similar feature to what we saw earlier for OTL. Post the upgrade, we will be able to manage which fields are required to be displayed on the run results based on our organization requirements. So let's say you have certain payroll employees that should not be seeing the TRU. So you could add conditions and criteria here to filter out the data based on those requirements. The next feature we have is control the start date of the retroactive payroll period. This is one of the most interesting features we have in this update. You would be able to decide the number of months, the number of months back does the retro process need to look for any changes, and additionally, you can also provide the earliest retroactive processing date. So both these parameters are required to be provided when you create a process configuration group, and when you run your retro flow, you can provide the group at that point. Additionally, if you want to override the date for specific employees, you can navigate to the event notification screen and provide an override date at that point. Next, we have is improved page performance for statement of earnings. So this enhancement will enable the statement of earnings page to load the data as and when it gets processed to get you started in the review of payments that are made to the employee. So let's say if the net pay is already processed, that will be displayed while the other bits of the page are still loading. Next update is added guidance for payment method creation. When the employee adds the bank account details from employee self-service, in case they forget to add the payment method, the system will show them a banner which says you must add a payment method to be paid into your bank account. Additionally, they will also display a banner here with the same message to just guide them towards completion of the personal payment method setup so that they can actually be paid for the earnings of the month. The next feature we have is global transfer for student loan and postgraduate loan components. This enhancement is in with regards to global transfer of an employee. So in case they had any ongoing student loan or postgraduate loan, the details of those will be copied over to the new record, and creation of a new calculation card will not be required. So the details that will get copied over are mentioned on the table here. So for student loan, we have the plan type, student loan deduction start date is start notice date of issue, and student loan deduction stop date. These are some of the details that will get copied over. So this feature would particularly be of great help if there is a mass global transfer action happening at your organization. This enhancement will ideally reduce the manual overhead by a lot in that case. The next feature we have is LGPS stakeholder pension. Again, this is a sort of setup enhancement wherein the process we used to earlier follow to create the LGPS element has slightly been amended. Earlier, we used to create the LGPS element with the primary classification as pre-statutory deduction, and post the upgrade of 21D, we would be creating the LGPS element using the voluntary deduction primary classification. Next, we have is teachers pension MCR diagnostic report. So as we know, many organizations in UK have already started movement to MCR. This feature will particularly be helpful as it will let us identify whether the prerequisite setup is correct in our system, and validate the identifiers that are present and required for the teacher pension reporting. So what you need to do is you need to run the HCM UK TPS generic setup diagnostic test, and it will generate this report for you, letting you know whether your setup is correct or not. The next set of features that we're going to take a look are quick wins that require some additional configuration. So the first one here is chained security for year-end documents task. The year-end document task is now going to be secured using the Aura Pay View year-end documents aggregate privilege. So in case you are using a seeded employee role, no change will be required. Employees will continue to view the year-end documents task. But obviously, if you're using custom roles, we would need to ensure that we add the aggregate privilege in the employee role for them to continue viewing their P60s and P45s. The next feature here is navigation to loader process results. In case as a payroll admin, let's say you are running any data loader type of flow, let's say load batch from file or initiate spreadsheet loader flow, you would be able to view the process results through the import and load task as well. This task can be found under the data exchange work area. And as a payroll admin, to view that task, you would need the HRC view DL import and load results privilege. Again, the same concept applies if you are using seeded roles. No change will be required in any of the payroll roles. But if you're using custom roles, we would need to add this particular privilege in the relevant payroll roles in our organization for the employees to access this particular task. The next section that we're going to cover is quick wins, which are opt-in features. So the first one that we have here is enter repeating absences. Post the 21D upgrade, employees will be able to enter repeating absences. So let's say you are taking every Friday off for a recurring medical appointment. What you just need to do is you need to record the absence once, populate the two fields, that is repeat and end repeat, and the system will automatically generate the recurring absences for you. To enable this, what we need to do is we need to just make both of these fields visible using the HCM Experience Design Studio. The next feature here that we have is time card audit data for absence reprocessing. We had a very similar feature in our last upgrade as well. So Oracle is giving you the functionality that you can add your change audit reasons on the Aura HWMCA reasons lookup. And in case there are any changes to the time cards due to absences, all of those changes will be captured, and you would be able to audit all of that information as well with appropriate reasons. So the prerequisite setup for this required is obviously you need to enable audit in your organization for OTL. You need to have a proper time entry identifier setup in your time layout task, and you can add all the required change reasons in the lookup that is provided by Oracle. The next feature that we have here is team schedule self-service pages enhancement. This is a major enhancement in terms of multiple assignments. Post the 21D upgrade, line managers and OTL managers will be able to see the schedule data separately for the multiple assignments of the employees. And to enable this, we would just need to turn on the Aura HTS multiple assignment enabled profile option. The next feature we have is benefits and pension integration. Again, this is one of the major updates that we have this time in terms of UK. This feature will enable employees to view and manage their pension scheme attributes via the benefits work area. And this would give the employee more access to their pension contribution set up in the system. Uh, to enable it, it's a two-step process. Firstly, we need to turn the feature on from for individual legal entities from the manage legal entity HCM information page. And secondly, you need to give the UK enrollment role to the employees for them to access the interface. The next feature that we have here is Oracle Time and Payroll Reconciliation Extract. So post the 21D upgrade, reconciliation of payments processed in payroll versus the time cards in OTL will become very efficient. What you need to do is you need to navigate to the submit extracts task and find the time and payroll info for reconciliation extract. When you run this extract, a report will be generated for you which you can use for your analysis. Another additional bit of information here is that Oracle has also mentioned that they're going to, come up with a very similar extract for absence and payroll reconciliation. So that's definitely something to look out for in the future releases that are going to come. The next section that we have is OTBI enhancements. The feature that we have in terms of OTBI this time is project award attributes in time and labor subject area. So they have added certain new attributes in the OTL subject areas for you to see the project attributes against employees' time cards. So those attributes are project capitalization identifier, project contract number, project expenditure organization, and project funding source. That brings us to the end of all the features that we have in the quarterly upgrade of 21D for workforce management and payroll. The next set of slides are going to just highlight the known issues that have been identified by Oracle. So the first one here that we have is absences OTBI subject area, hide certain absences for multiple assignment employees. So in case you are in case the employee is raising a person level absence using advanced mode, the line manager will not be able to see the absence in any of the analysis that they have. So as a workaround, Oracle does suggest that if you have an absence that you're raising is a person level absence, then you raise it using basic mode and avoid advanced mode. The next one here is HCM calendars can't display overlapping resource exceptions. So if you have overlapping resource exceptions set on employee, those exceptions are not usually very correctly visible on the calendar page of the employee. So currently there is no fix for this. Oracle has suggested that there does not seem to be a business requirement wherein you need multiple resource exceptions for the employee on the same level. So we would need to avoid creating them. The next is responsive professional payslip paid smartnav issues. So when you navigate to the payslip task from the payroll work area and open up the smartnav at that point, you would not see any of the payroll related actions like element entries or payment methods. So ideally, you would need to navigate to home and then navigate back to the payroll work area to access any of the other payroll actions. The next is payroll global transfer business object usability and autocomplete. So the payroll global transfer object is displaying some attributes that ideally should not be displayed, they should be hidden. Currently, Oracle has suggested not to use the payroll global transfer object unless absolutely necessary, because they're still currently working on a fix for this. The next known issue is task iteration statuses. So let's say you run a flow from submit a flow and you roll it back. There are scenarios wherein the flow still shows as succeeded rather than corrected process. So Oracle is suggesting that you navigate to the view flow section and view the accurate status of the flow from there rather than on the same page that you were in. The next issue is automatic element entries issue when using worker HCM data loader. So if you are loading workers using HDL and including historic records of the employee, then the automatic element entries will not get generated for the employee. So currently there is no fix for it, but Oracle is definitely working on a future enhancement and will let us know as soon as the fix has been delivered in any of the releases. The next known issue is incorrect warning message appears during duplicate bank account entry. So if the employee is adding a bank account from employee self service, in case they already have a bank account with the same number, the system gives you the warning message that do you want to become joint owner of the bank account, rather than giving you a warning or an error message stating that this is incorrect because you already have a duplicate entry. So this is unexpected behavior of the system, but currently there is no workaround for this issue. We would need to maintain this using user training. The next known issue is data loader tasks result. So again, if you are submitting any flows with respect to data loader tasks, the process results page does not show you all of the data that has been processed through the data loader. You would need to go into the you would need to go into the process results details and process results summary and view all of the data. The next is submit related flow with errors or correction. In case you submitted a flow which resulted in an error, the additional actions that you can perform on the flow includes submit a related flow, which is again not an expected outcome. We do not want to submit a related flow with the current flow that has already errored. So currently there is no workaround for this or no fix for this, but we need to avoid submitting a related flow of a current errored out flow. The next is not able to create events using cost allocation DEO. The issue here is that the retro does not pick up any backdated change to costing that has been made on the employee. Oracle has suggested that costing backdated change in costing was never retroactive anyways, so we wouldn't have a workaround for this at the moment. The next known issue is individuals can view all of their responsive time cards. So this is an issue on the responsive UI page from employee self-service, as in the employees are able to view all the time cards in the past and in the future, irrespective of how the conditions or how the criteria have been set in the system. Currently, Oracle has not provided a fix or have not provided a tentative date of fix. In case this is an issue for your organization, we need to raise an idea with them and ensure that they know that this is an issue for our organization, and they will potentially then release a fix. Next, we're just going to look at couple of replaced or removed features. So the first one here is workday definition rules and enhancement of start day rule. These are the two rules, that is days with most hours and scheduled shift reference day, which have been removed from Oracle because they were they weren't very highly used, and Oracle has suggested that it should just improve your productivity in case nobody is using them. And the next removed feature is payroll dashboards discontinued. So two of the dashboards, that are payroll flow details dashboard and active processes dashboard, both of them have also been removed from OTBI. that brings us to the end of our session on workforce management and payroll for the quarterly upgrade of 21D.
Hello, everyone. So thank you very much for the wonderful insight, Yagni. So before we move to the next slide, let me check if we have any questions. So no questions as of now. Yeah. So I'll be taking you to one poll wherein we would like to know that your area of interest so that we can craft more valuable webinars going forward. So with this poll, we need your help letting us know that your area of interest, whether it's on managed services, innovation technologies, VBA, data masking tool, cloud transformation, so that we can craft the upcoming webinars or future releases. Meanwhile, if you do have any question, please do ask us through the question or chat panel, and we'll be happy to answer them. If you also need any one-to-one connect or something, you can reach out to your project manager and they'll connect you to the expert. Also, if you're not an Evosys client and if you are in the webinar, please write to us on business@evosysglobal.com and we'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you very much for the poll. And before you all leave, we would like to tell you that we'll be sending you the presentation along with the recording of this session, and yeah, along with the feedback form where you can let us know how we did overall, and we'll be also sending you test scripts as well. So that should be on your way by this weekend without fail. And we also have one PPM session which is on 28th, and also we have supply chain inventory and order management also on 28th. So any of your colleagues wants to register, they can go ahead and do so. And with this, I think we're done for today's session. So thank you everyone for your time. Really appreciate it.